Hello out there to all my YouTube subscribers. This is Dungeon Master Mark giving you guys a real quick update video. Late last night I had a YouTube subscriber and someone on Facebook asked me questions about possibly doing a Egyptian theme using Hirst art pieces. And for any of you guys who've seen some of my previous dungeons, I have thrown in some kind of Egyptian themed pieces before. If you look back here, you see. Actually, I'll bring it up here. This has kind of the pharaoh's looking tomb entrance, something similar there, where you have the Egyptian, maybe Babylonian style statues there with some torches on it, and then the weird kind of scarab looking door. I've actually made a couple pieces of this for some Pathfinder sets, like the Infernal Vault and things of that nature. So, like I said, I've kind of tinkered around with the idea before of making a Egyptian themed board, which I may look a little bit more into that maybe for my next dungeon set I make. But this actually goes out to Christian. He was actually going to build a Egyptian theme and he wanted some ideas. And I had a couple of thoughts on the process of making an actual Egyptian themed board that I've been kind of putting together for myself. The first thing you probably want to start with is what kind of floor you're using for your dungeon for the Egyptian theme. And I've been kind of haggling for myself over what type to use. This is the Hirst Arts, this is the flagstone, which if you look at any of the videos on YouTube of like the actual pyramids or anything of that nature, the Egyptians normally had like a sand floor. I have seen some of the pictures where some of the buildings actually had like a smooth granite floor. So for my flooring for mine, I was thinking about using something similar to this, which those are the gothic style floor pieces. You could technically use like well, this is chip too, but the ones with the cracks or something of that nature if you wanted to high brush or dry brush and bring out some of the details in the cracks in the flooring to make it look a little bit more old and weathered. As far as the wall pieces, you could actually do two things. You could use like the gothic like this, or the actual Egyptian themed wall pieces are about the same style, except for when you paint those different. Obviously you wanted to go like a kind of a yellowish tannish color, and then you dry brush over that, and then you ink it or use some kind of wood polish. That way it brings out some of the detail. So the painting process for the Egyptian stuff is definitely going to be different. Maybe a little bit messier, but overall, like I said, it's not going to be a lot more complicated, just slightly different method. But the flooring, I think I may go something similar to this for my flooring, or maybe the cracked tiles. I'm not exactly sure yet which one I'm going to use. As far as accessories, Bruce Hirst has a very, very large amount of dungeon molds. I believe there's about 12 of them altogether. I've got three different types. Like I said, obviously I have this mold where you have the statues and then the torch segments and some other pieces. One thing I did get is I actually got the one that has these upright pieces as well. And like I said, you can use those for like an entrance to a crypt or something of that nature. I like these because it's not really specific to one type of religion or ethnicity, which for the Infernal Vault, the whole point was the family was Assyrian, which in the Pathfinder setting is similar to our Egyptian or ancient Egyptian. But I still wanted to have a little bit of Chiliax kind of influence in there, since the family eventually moved to Chiliax and they had some type of secrets or something of that nature. So, like I said, this would definitely be a good piece for like doorways. As you can see there, I just have those dry brushed the dark, then I put a little bit of red ink in where it almost looks like hieroglyphics or something there in the door. Now for the door pieces, that's from one of the Bruce Hirst's Egyptian molds. I made a couple in one of my previous videos, which I'll put a link up to the top. And in that video you can actually see where I've used this particular mold, and I have a couple different painting styles for the doors. Some of them I've done, actually these two here are actually a little bit different from the two sets. Like I said, even that just kind of makes a big difference. You can see the one on this side where I don't have quite as much red and quite as much color. It looks a lot kind of older and a little bit more worn out looking on the door, like maybe it's been sandblasted. Versus this where it looks like it's a little bit more up to date. No, I wouldn't really say modern, but it looks much more crisp, and like I said, that red detail really pops out. And like I said, all I did for the red detail, I took a little bit of red acrylic paint, mixed that with a little bit of clear coat or a little bit of future floor polish, watered it down, inked it into that brush, and then I wiped off the excess there. So So like I said, very, very simple. Like I said, definitely makes the color and the door kind of stand out. As far as other pieces you can use to kind of bring some detail into your dungeon for the Egyptian style, I actually bought this Reaper Mini that has a sarcophagus and a little mummy there inside. And I actually made a custom mold of that. And then what I did was I made several more for my custom mold. Like I said, they don't come out or anything like that. Like I said, that's actually made from resin, where I resin cast those. But I made about 10 or so of those all together. Like I said, and they look really, really good in your dungeon. Like I said, the sarcophagus is kind of that, you know, Egyptian kind of cliche. I mean, it's not like a dungeon you're going to find gobs of those or anything like that. As far as accessories in your dungeon, what I'm thinking about doing when I build mine, the first thing I'm looking at is doors, which those doors are obviously great for like something that, you know, you want to give the players a challenge to enter though. But if you're watching any of these videos, the Egyptians used a lot of wooden doors, and they also used stone doors, which stone doors obviously are pretty simple. You can use the back of one of those, where it's just like a giant stone slab. For the wooden doors, I'm using the cavern mold for the wooden doors, because they look kind of old and decrepit, which if you've had something in a crypt for, you know, 100 years, 1,000 years it's been decaying, you expect some rot and some decay. As far as other accessories, like I said, I have the torches here, which I made those from the cavern accessories mold. We have the pillars, and then the braziers there. The one thing I'm a little kind of confused about is using barrels and things of that nature. So let me zoom in there real quick. Actually, obviously there's a couple of the wooden barrels, which they don't look horribly out of place. Maybe not really as Egyptian-esque as what I would like. Luckily, my wife, when I was getting ready to do the Infernal Vault module there for Pathfinder, my wife found these at a local craft store. Those are actually some type of small little Egyptian-style bead. Let's see if I can pull those in there without getting the camera all out of focus. Oh, I'm just going to go out of focus a little bit. There we go. But these, I believe there was about 40 of these for about $1, which is a really, really simple bead. Actually, it's clear on the bottom. But like I said, if you kind of prop those up against the wall in your dungeon, those definitely have a nice Egyptian theme. Pardon me. Like I said, very, very nice and simple. Like I said, the design on there kind of speaks for itself. The other thing you may want to take a look at is kind of one of my thought processes the other day when I was thinking about doing a Egyptian themed dungeon was how I was going to do treasure and things of that nature in my dungeon. I think I'm going to stick with the kind of traditional, you know, you're going to have one kind of treasure room. That way I don't want the characters to feel like they have to search every single room in the dungeon. I think after they go to the third or fourth room and they search and they find absolutely nothing, that should be sufficient. Traditionally, if you watch any of the videos or read anything about Egyptian pyramids or anything like that, the only rooms that were normally trapped, if at all, were the actual treasure rooms. Everything else was sealed up, but there wasn't really any traps, and there wasn't really much else left around, except for where the storage was, where the pharaoh had their belongings for the afterlife. So, other things, like I said, the next step you would want to look at would be what type of Denizens or what type of creatures you want to have in your dungeon. Mine obviously is going to be the traditional mummies, because my son absolutely loves the movie The Mummy, so I figured that'd be exciting when I do that campaign. I think what I'm going to do on mine, I'm actually going to do a Pathfinder campaign, and I want to have where this one particular pharaoh or this one particular royal evidently may have acquired some type of fiendish blood, and that's why he was exiled and yada yada blah blah. He was kind of erased from history, and the PCs have to acquire some type of information or some type of documentation from this particular tomb is what I want to do for my quest for our home game there. But like I said, that's still kind of a thought process for me for my home campaign. I hope this helps you with some of your ideas of how you want to build your dungeon tile. Like I said, the good thing about the Egyptian style themed board pieces, depending on how you build it, you can make your pieces where you can easily use those for some other type of piece. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to go like the brown and tan for the walls. You could easily do like a stone tile floor, like maybe even this color, and then do like the tan style walls. Or I mean, you could technically do, you know, stone walls and stone floors. It doesn't have to be that, you know, that tan, ruddy, brownish color. But that's about all my thoughts I have it on at this time. Good luck making your Egyptian train, and when you do get it finished, please feel free to post up a video and I'll link it so we can all take a look. But thanks for watching, and what I'll probably do here at the end, I will also go ahead and post another link there to 2 of those other videos where I have some of those Infernal Vault videos, so you can take a look at some of those projects so you can see some of the Egyptian themed pieces on the board there in action. So thanks for watching. Bye-bye.